Mike Harber, and this is Crashtalk. Meet Fred. Some of you already met Fred. Fred doesn't have a whole lot to say. That's what we're going to touch on tonight. But first, we both want to wish you a very safe and enjoyable 4th of July weekend. Please be safe. Wear your mask, keep your distance, and have a good time with your family. And hopefully this is going to be I'm sure 2020 will be a year that none of us are going to forget. But let's get started with the show. I'm going to keep it brief tonight because it's a holiday weekend. And so first off, I've got to give the disclaimer, neither Fred nor I nor any of the guests or members of Harber Appraisal are providing legal advice. We're not attorneys. If you need legal advice, seek that of a licensed attorney in your area. We can certainly help, provide you a reference of people that we've worked with, attorneys we've worked with, that would be more than willing to review your case and see if there's a need for you to retain them. So let's kind of start with, Fred here doesn't have a whole lot to say, and the reason I think is because he's intimidated. He doesn't know the questions to ask, and sometimes you don't know the questions to ask because the terminology and some of the information that's out there is a little bit difficult to understand. So a couple of things, in past episodes, we've talked about insurance. We've talked about a lot of different provisions in an insurance policy. But let's first start out with a couple reminders. A first party claim is a claim that you are working with your own insurance company. First party, okay? A third-party claim is a claim where somebody else has caused harm or damage to you, and the person that has caused that damage, if they have insurance and you're working with that insurance company, that's called a third-party claim. You're working with a third party, not the person that caused the damage, but with their insurance company. Ultimately, the person that owes you for your loss, for the negligence of causing an accident, is that person, not their insurance company. So their insurance company, they're going to try to settle the claim without litigation. If you look at your own policy under liability, it will say we, meaning the insurance company, are not responsible to pay for your claim if you've caused damage to somebody else, unless a judgment's entered in against you. How do you get a judgment? It's a lawsuit. So again, we're talking about the person, if they damaged your property or hurt you, you were injured. The insurance company that they don't have to pay your claim unless there's a judgment, unless there's a lawsuit. But it goes on to say, we do not have to pay your claim unless a judgment is entered in against you, but at our option, we may negotiate and settle the claim at our discretion. So that's kind of the basis of how most insurance claims are handled, is that if you're working with the third party, what they're trying to do is negotiate and settle the claim. Now, your insurance company, first party claim, is different because your insurance company has a contractual obligation to you for good faith and fair dealing. What does that mean? That means that they owe you for your loss. They owe you to restore a vehicle to its pre-loss condition. Now, last week we talked about payment of loss, and you remember we've got 3 different ways that they can look at a claim. They can pay in money, they can repair, or they can replace. So let's talk tonight about another provision of the policy that's a very important provision, because nobody wants to get into a lawsuit. And if there has been an underpayment or a lack of a payment or a denial of a claim, you have a provision in the policy for dispute resolution called appraisal. Now that provision is available if you have collision coverage on your policy. Now, if you just bought the minimum by the state for liability, well, then you're out of luck, because it's not that appraisal provision is not afforded to you under liability. It's only available if you have collision coverage. Now, Fred here, he doesn't have a lot to say. And it's probably because he doesn't understand all of this lingo, and he's not quite sure what questions to ask. But if you understand one very important element of a claim is that you're better off with your own insurance company, and hopefully you've got collision coverage. So you always want to make sure you turn the claim into your company. Let your company help you through this, the struggle, the stress of an insurance claim. Believe me, insurance claims, being in an accident, it's no fun. It's very, it's time consuming, it's stressful, and it just eats up a lot of your time. You got better things to do than deal with an insurance company on an insurance claim. So let's talk about some of the things that maybe if Fred knew, it would maybe help eliminate those kind of problems. And what we at Harber Appraisal, our mission is people helping people. We just really want to keep things simple. If you have a question, you can call us anytime and we'll answer the best we can. We don't turn a clock on. We give a free advice out all the time. As a matter of fact, we'll review any claim that you have, total loss claim, diminished value claim, loss of use claim, an underpayment for the cost of repair. We'll review that for you, no charge. Let you know if we can add value to your claim. So let's talk about this provision in the policy called appraisal. So if you have an accident and there's somebody else responsible, use your own insurance company. Tell the at-fault party's insurance company, the third party, tell them you want them to advance your deductible. That way you're not out of pocket. You can also tell them you want them to pay for the cost of the rental car. Again, most insurance companies will cooperate with you. And, they really want to get the claim settled at the same time as you do. They're not, just enjoying dragging these things out. So working with your own insurance company, the first party claim, and you've got a disagreement that maybe you feel like they're not being fair in the amount that they're offering you for your total loss claim. Well, you can tell them to pay you the amount that they're offering as the uncontested amount of the claim. You can then move on with your life and you can invoke the right of appraisal. You pick a competent appraiser. The insurance company picks a competent appraiser outside the company. It's not a person on staff. So now you've got two independent parties that are going to try to resolve the matter and come to an agreement on what is the true amount of your loss. Sounds pretty simple? It is pretty simple. You can move on, you can get payment, and then you can allow somebody else to do the work for you. Remember, you're the boss. Don't feel intimidated like Fred, and you're afraid to speak up. If you're the innocent party here, if somebody else damaged your property, then you don't have to bow down to anybody. You have rights. If the accident was your fault, you also have rights. And you want to just get back to where you were as quickly as possible. So make the right choices, choose your insurance company, and if you have a dispute, look at the policy. Look at that provision I'm talking about called appraisal. It's just one little paragraph. Every policy has it for dispute resolution. Now, the only exception to that is State Farm, like a good neighbor, they decided to take part of that provision out. The only time you can use appraisal on a State Farm policy is on a total loss claim. Any other dispute, you're forced to sue. So that's kind of, I'm not quite sure how they get that approved through the state, but I guess they know people in high places. So with that, again, let me say, have a great, safe holiday weekend. Keep your distance, wear your mask, stay safe, and we'll see you next week. This has been Crash Talk. Thank you for tuning in.